coming-of-age drama directed by George Clooney, whose previous credits include Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Good Night and Good Luck, which I think everybody loved. I remember being at the BAFTAs the year that was up for a bunch of awards. And David Putnam said that he had stopped making movies because he didn't think it was any longer possible to make a movie like Good Night and Good Luck.
Is that interesting?
Yeah, which was kind of great. Midnight Sky, of course, which we reviewed quite recently, written by William Monahan, whose credits include Kingdom of Heaven, based on the memoir by Pulitzer Prize winner J.R. Moehringer, who I have to say I wasn't aware of J.R. Moehringer's work, and of whom we learn very early on that J.R. doesn't stand for anything, it stands for junior. So as a young boy, and then later played by Ty Sheridan, picking up the role from Daniel Ranieri, who plays as a younger kid, we learn that his mother believed that he was capable of anything, but his father, who is now a DJ, is a total wastrel who abandoned them very, very early on.
Can't trust DJs.
I know. And so he's got this strange relationship with the radio, which is that the radio is a conduit to his father's voice, but his father is an absence. His father is not there. And he is told from everyone that he hears that he's really not such a bad thing that his father isn't there. The grandfather is played by Christopher Lloyd in spectacularly crotchety grandfather mode. Except, of course, beneath the spectacularly crotchety grandfather mode, there is something else. There's a kind of,
Great Scott!
Great Scott.
Is it that?
No, it's not. Oh. It's not that he's turned a DeLorean into a time machine. It's that, there are whole well springs of things going on, underneath. Wellsprings? Wellsprings. No, I mean Wellsprings, fine.
Not bed springs, that doesn't work.
No, that's right. But in the absence of his father, Ben Affleck's Uncle Charlie, who runs the bar, sort of steps in. He drives a cool car. He runs a bar. He's a decent, solid, salt-of-the-earth type who takes JR under his wing and teaches him the lessons of life in extremely likable fashion. Here's a clip.
I know a lot of guys that think they're writers, and you'll find in life that most of them are not. Here's the thing. You gotta have it. I don't know what it is, but if you don't have it immediately, you never get it. And I say you got it.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. There's something.
Calm down. I didn't say you were good. I said, you could be.
So he's like incredibly. He's the sort of the barman that you would like to meet because he's full of dispensing very down to earth wisdom. And then what we see is the story of this young boy growing under the kind of guidance of his uncle in the absence of his father, being told by his mum that he can do anything. He could go to, Harvard or Yale or whatever he wants. He can. There is a route out for him, and occasionally we see the father, and as is suggested, his absence is really not such a bad thing. We see Charlie instead stepping in and being that father figure. Now, it's hardly earth-shattering stuff, but here's what's interesting. While I was watching it, I started thinking of Hillbilly Elegy. Not because the films are alike, because they're completely not alike. Mm-hmm. Because Hillbilly Elegy, which is an adaptation of a memoir about somebody, who became a celebrated author and about their kind of memory of their sort of tough childhood, was, I thought, very, very annoying. Caricatured characters, ridiculous Glenn Close as Mrs. Brady, old lady performance, and also a weird sense of kind of down-home sanctimony that really got under my skin. And subsequent revelations have... Yeah, anyway, fine. I hadn't read the book.
What are the subsequent revelations
revealed? I haven't read the book, and I, now knowing more about the author, have no intention of reading the book. Because when I saw the film, I wasn't sure whether, is this a bad adaptation of a good book, or is it a perfectly appropriate adaptation of an annoying book? And I think it was latter. In the case of this, it does a similar trajectory, but it does it in a way that's really likable, that really you want to spend time in the company of these characters. I mean, Ben Affleck, who's started getting awards nods, he is at his most avuncular and his most likable. Christopher Lloyd, you kind of think this is the kind of thing Christopher Lloyd could do in his sleep, but then bear in mind, we saw Christopher Lloyd recently in a big action movie and holding his own, and he is a much more versatile actor than he is sometimes given credit for. And I just thought the central thing about that idea that, it's the Dickens bar and there's books and it's a mentor figure telling you, you need to read, you need to do this, this is how the world may be open to you. But doing so in a way that doesn't just feel like a bunch of trite cliches, although it is, I often say something, I'll say something and I go, look, listen to me, I sound like a Hallmark greeting card. And it's very easy to fall into that. And the film doesn't fall into that. It does feel like I watched a lot of it with a big smile on my face. And I watched Hillbilly Elegy with my teeth on edge.
That sounds horrible. Is there any death or misery in this film? Might it be a Christmas film for me?
There is some misery and there is some depiction of, domestic strife. That is, I think you'd be all right.
Might this be a good? We're looking for films to watch through the
generation.
Yeah,
I know. There is. I think you.
Producer always rings twice. More correspondence.
I'm in the middle of writing a review, but
he can't. You're in the middle of writing a review.
Reading a review. I just work here.
Thank you. Posters arrived because producer is not allowed in. New COVID rules. Thank you very much. Family film suggestions. So obviously at Christmas we're all looking for movies that we can watch with people that we would not normally be watching. Maybe nieces and nephews, maybe parents, maybe grandparents. Does this film, Mark, fit into that category?
Well, I think it does. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look it up on the BBFC thing because I'm very aware of the fact that what I often do.
I watched all the frontal nudity.
Yeah, exactly. I watch something and I just think this is perfectly fine for everybody. And then somebody says, "Why didn't you say anything about the chainsaw scene?" And I go, "Oh, the chainsaw scene.
Darn.
Sorry. Okay, so here we go. Tender bar, strong language and sex references. 15 certificate. So
it's a 15.
It's a big no.
That sounded like a you the way you
described
it.
Yeah, but what even defines a sex reference now? It's like.
Well, do you want me to tell you?
No, I don't want you to tell me because you.
Anyway,